everyone, it's Rosie from Talking About BPD. Welcome to day 4's video. I hope you've been enjoying the videos so far of 14 days of DBT. And today the skill is going to be opposite action, also known as opposite to emotion action, I think. And this skill follows on really nicely from yesterday's video, which was identifying emotions. So once you've identified your emotion that you're feeling, it's really helpful to look at the facts. I'm not going to make a video all about checking the facts. There's a lot of stuff online about it and I will post the links down below. But basically, checking the facts is you need to look at what is going on in the present to assess whether your emotion is backed up by facts. So for example, if my emotion is shame, because I'm fearing rejection or I think I've been rejected, I need to check the facts of that. So has somebody actually told me that they're rejecting me? Has somebody actually done something to say, go away, I can't have you near me, you should be ashamed of yourself, we're all ashamed of you, we can't see you anymore, get out of my life? Has somebody said that? If they have, then your shame is probably fitting the facts. If you think that you have done something shameful, obviously sometimes people can be shamed for things that they shouldn't be shamed for. However, sometimes emotions are not actually fitting the facts of the present situation. So for example, it can be really easy to have something be triggered off in the present moment that kind of like elicit something from the past. So for example, I might feel shame when I'm not actually being rejected, so I can check facts by looking at what is being said or done, like tangible evidence. And if I'm not actually being rejected, or I haven't done anything to be rejected and there's nothing shameful about me, then my shame is not fitting those facts. And if my shame is not fitting the facts, then acting on the urges of shame is not going to be effective for me. So if I've done something that is not shameful, I'm not being rejected, nobody's, pushing me away and abandoning me or rejecting me, my shame is not fitting the facts. That's not to say that my shame is not very real. It feels real. It is a real emotional experience and it's valid because it's based on memories or like deep down things that have happened in the past. But what I'm saying is that the shame is not fitting the present day situation in front of me right now. So once I've worked out whether the shame is justified by what's going on in the present or whether it's based on an interpretation of the present that's been kind of influenced by things that have happened in the past, once I've worked out which one the emotion relates to, whether it's actually happening in the present or whether it's triggered by something that's happened in the past, I can then decide whether I need to act opposite to my emotion. So if my emotion is based on an interpretation or something that's happened in the past and it's not justified by the present situation that's going on right now in front of me, then I need to act opposite to my emotion. It's not going to be effective to act on that emotion. And as I discussed yesterday, emotions always have an urge attached to them. So let me give you another example. So say I'm feeling really sad because I think that I'm going to be sacked. My manager's gonna call me in for a meeting and she's gonna sack me. And I'm sad. I'm crying at home because tomorrow I just know I'm gonna be sacked. I have to check the facts. Has my manager actually said, given me cause for concern? Have I actually, had many meetings with her about my performance? Or is there actually evidence suggesting that I have been doing really well at work and that my manager's happy with me? So I'm checking the facts. If I don't have facts and it looks like my sadness about being sacked is actually maybe due to some bad memories that I have or some painful things that happened in the past, or maybe I know that I have a tendency to feel not good enough. If I know that it's the interpretation of what's going on, it's not helpful for me to act on that urge. So sadness usually has the urge of like crying, withdrawing, slowing down, avoiding, resting, taking a lot of comfort. It's not going to be helpful for me to call in sick tomorrow because I need to have a day under my duvet, crying, sleeping, avoiding, not picking up the phone, you know, disengaging with the world. If there's a justifiable reason in the present to be sad, say I did actually lose my job and that was actually happening, then I think it's justified that I stay in bed, cry, sleep, do nothing, because that is a sad thing that happened. So it's working out the difference here between what emotion is happening, what emotion fits the facts in the present, or, you know, whether that emotion actually is referring to something in the past that happened, or your interpretation of how you see something and what you think something means. It's kind of like sometimes your imagination runs a bit wild, at least mine does. Like anxiety, you know, I can see anxiety in anything or any situation, and if I constantly listen to that anxiety and those anxious thoughts that were telling me like, avoid, don't do this, you need to check all the time, check, what did I do wrong? If I was acting on those emotions and those urges, then I would honestly never get anything done. I don't think I'd ever leave my house or leave my bed. So this is why I find opposite actions so helpful, because it helps me avoid doing things that are not helpful, and it actually allows me to do things against how I'm feeling. And initially when I heard this idea in DBT, I thought this was quite bad. Like I'd always been taught to listen to your emotions, you know. That's not to say you don't listen to your emotions. You have to listen to your emotions. If you push them down or you try and change them without actually understanding them, then I honestly believe that causes more pain. But there's something about knowing what your emotion is, looking at the facts and deciding whether it's justified for the present right now, whether it's something from the past that's been triggered, like a bad dream, a bad memory, flashback, an interpretation, a story you're telling yourself. Once you've worked out the difference, you can either do skills to kind of soothe your emotion, or try to take the edge off the pain. You can do something for that if it's justified by the present, or you can try and problem solve that. But if the emotion is activated by something in the past, then acting opposite is actually the chance to do something that's really meaningful for you, and something that you know you really want to do, and you know that there's no reason for you not to. I guess for me it's kind of liberating to know that, yeah, I can have emotions and thoughts and feelings and beliefs, but I don't have to go down that path. I can choose something different to do, and that is a really hard concept to grasp, because sometimes it feels like you're doing something dishonest. You know, if you're feeling sad and then you, I don't know, go for a walk in the park, you might feel sometimes like you're invalidating yourself, because you're like pushing yourself to do something that you don't want to do. However, the thing about opposite action is that sometimes your brain will catch up with what you're doing. So my old DBT therapist, she told me your behaviour comes first and then your emotions will catch up with your behaviour. And at first I was so shocked by that. I'd always thought you have to change your emotion first, and once you change your emotion then you can change your behaviour. But actually, if you do opposite action, so say for example you're feeling anxious and you're having the urge to avoid, if you actually don't avoid and you push yourself into the situation that makes you afraid, then you're still anxious when you're in that situation. But after some time, usually your thoughts and your feelings catch up and they say, actually, I didn't avoid, I did go into that situation and I was anxious, but as I learned that it was actually okay, my anxiety started to come down a tiny bit. Even if it doesn't come down, personally for me, it's not the end of the world. I can get through things even when I'm really anxious. And for me personally, I'd rather have the discomfort of being somewhere and being anxious than being at home or avoiding doing something, because then I'm going to get sad that I didn't give myself the chance to do what I knew deep down I valued and what was meaningful for me. That's not to say acting opposites to your emotion is easy. It's really, really hard, and I think it's something that I've had to practice for a really long time, and I've had to do small steps and start really small and then build up. So yeah, if you're going to try this, I really wish you all the best. Start with checking facts, and then don't be afraid if your emotions are still high when you're acting opposite to your emotion. It will take a while for your emotions and your thoughts to catch up with your behaviour, but if you keep at it, quite often your emotions and your thoughts will synchronise with your behaviour. So even if you are outside in the sunshine, feeling really sad, and having urges to go back to your bed and lie there, it will take time. In fact, you might feel sad the whole time you're outside in the sunshine, but you might not. You might actually get the positive benefit of doing the opposite to what your emotions are tempting you to do. So yeah, when I first started DBT, this idea was really out of this world for me. I'd love to know what you think, if you've tried it, if it makes sense to you, or if it's a completely alien concept. I would love to know your thoughts, and thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me here tomorrow for day 5. Bye!